Intro. I remember when I was in India that I said to myself, why anyone would not want this experience of knowing thyself. Years later, I see that the spiritual path is the most practical. Many people would say the opposite. In fact, probably most of the world. What I'm saying was never taught in our school systems or by our families. We're human beings, but at times I would rename that to human doers. We are good at that. In fact, we are so good that we have to slow down and do nothing. We get bored. Take for instance the global shutdown. Most people got bored out of their minds. They couldn't handle the mind being bored. This is a major problem. I mean, a huge problem. We are like leaves blowing in the wind. Whatever comes our way, react to it. Our subconscious runs 95% of the show, while our conscious mind is about 5%. Unfortunately, we aren't even aware of this. You own the universe. You just don't know. You are stardust. Many scientists have confirmed this. Scientists know of the existence of a quantum field that exists beyond time and space. You are a part of this field, yet we are texting on the freeway of life. Going back to the spiritual path is the most practical. How would you like to live in the present moment? How about never getting bored again? Yes, that takes time, but with practice and awareness, it can happen. How would you like to live in the center of the hurricane? Humanity is living in the hurricane-force winds of the mind, and it's getting battered by the wind. Did you know that infinite peace, happiness, kindness, love, and compassion lie inside of you? Humanity is chasing the carrot on the stick. We are always striving for a happiness. External happiness is short-lived. Ask any drug addict. It brings a temporary high, yet they need a higher dose the next time around. Did you know that you are a master chemist? Each one of us is geniuses. Unfortunately, every single time you get angry or have negative emotions, your body is literally flooded with over 1,500 negative emotions. The Buddhists say that when you get angry, you are drinking your own poison. You think the other person will get harmed, that you are the one. We live in such a state of mind where the human body, for billions of people, they can't shut down the faucet of adrenaline. At night time, billions of people can't shut down the mind and body. $1 billion industry is built around this. A wise man puts his head on the pillow, smiles, and drifts off to sleep. An ignorant man will argue until all hell breaks loose. The wise man will have nothing to say but smile. He has nothing to prove. The sun in the sky just smiles. The universe just smiles. It has nothing to prove. Just think the entire universe exists inside of you, yet it doesn't shout, "Hey, look at me, dummy." At times I wish it would, yet the universe is big and humble. At the same time, it is infinite power. It is quite a paradox. When I came back from India, I had this friend. Call him Jim. Jim had a brilliant mind. It was off the charts. He got a degree in math and physics. Note, I said math, not mathematics. I need a spell checker for that. Anyway, we once discussed seeing light inside. My all-time favorite poem is Brahmanand's Palace in the Sky. We have 5 external senses and 5 internal. senses. We're literally hardwired to know thyself. My dear friend Jim thought we were crazy. Looking back, maybe we were. My brother John and I were learning how to have our feet on the ground and head in heaven. That is the definition of the word idiot. We are living our lives in darkness, yet we think we see clearly. Intro. Who am I? Man has been asking this question for thousands of years. Yet are we getting closer to answering this question? All the wise ones of the past said the answer lies inside. I say this a lot. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Most people roll their eyes when I say this. Michio Kaku said the following: in string theory, all particles are vibration on a tiny rubber band. Physics is the harmonies on the string. Chemistry is the melodies we play on vibrating strings. The universe is a symphony of strings, and the mind of God is cosmic music resonating in 11-dimensional hyperspace. I love this example from Paramahansa Yogananda. Another time, I was sitting in a movie theater watching a movie on a screen. And then I looked into the projection booth. I saw that the projectionist was not interested in the movie because he had seen it over and over again. Instead, he was reading a book. The projector was doing its job. There was the sound, and the beam of light was casting realistic images on the screen, and there was the audience caught up in the drama. Note the wise men of old and the quantum scientists are both talking about the same thing, but there is a huge difference. The quantum scientist looks external, while the wise man looks within. The sages throughout time would talk about our true nature, yet the majority of people roll their eyes when hearing about this. This book goes through all sorts of angles for you to ask yourself these basic questions on life. If you can try to have your heart open, we are thinking outside of your box. There's a part of you the heart knows when love wants to open the door inside of you. Intro. Welcome to the Tricks of the Trade. This is not your ordinary book. You've been living, yet for most people, they have no idea of the power of the breath. We come into this world, we take our first breath, and presto, we are alive. We live our lives. In each and every moment, we are breathing. When we take our last breath, we die. It is as simple as that. Nobody gets a free ride. The mystics have said for thousands of years, the power behind your breath is the same power that is keeping the universe alive. Yet for most of us, we are oblivious of it. We live our lives searching for the truth, yet the truth has always been inside of you. Unfortunately, man is stubborn and hates to change. And most of what the wise men have said, most people just roll their eyes. They believe if it exists inside of me, why? We don't know about it. Well, your focus is on the external. You were never taught to look inside of you. It's only by your will and intent. Nobody can open the door for you. Take your time reading or listening to this book. Ponder over each chapter. I hope that you will discover the jewel within. You are a missing piece of the puzzle. Welcome to the world of shamanism. Shamanism is a religious practice that involves the practitioner, a shaman, who is believed to interact with the spirit world through direct, altered state of consciousness, such as trance. The goal of this is usually to direct these spirits or spiritual energies into the physical world for healing or some other purpose. This is the most given definition. Yet I take a different spin on it. I'm taking the modern day approach. Everyone alive on Earth is a shaman. The jewel exists inside of us. The quantum field exists everywhere. It's existent beyond time and space. It exists in the seen and unseen world. It exists in all dimensions and universes. The shamans of all traditions know this. They know the interconnectedness of all creation. The Mother Earth and man are interconnected with each other. You don't see indigenous people throwing garbage in the living room of the earth. They don't put up fences. Nobody owns the land. The land is sacred. It seems to me that Western man is still living in conquering the Wild West. We still have the mindset that life must be conquered. Mind you, we annihilated millions of Indians along the way, yet we still don't have any remorse in doing so. You would think that we might change our ways. Yet this is embedded into our consciousness. We feel conquering is the only way. Whether it's war, politics, sports, or business, there are winners and losers. We even fight with Mother Earth. We take and steal precious resources without any sense of morals or ethics. The following is from CNN. Prince Charles made these statements. Only a revolution in the way the global economy and financial markets work can save the planet from the climate crisis and secure future prosperity, Prince Charles warned on Wednesday. We can't go on like this with every month another record in temperatures being broken, he told CNN in an exclusive interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. If we leave it too long, and we just have done, just growing things is going to become difficult. The heir to the British throne and lifelong environmentalist was speaking to CNN after he threw down a challenge to the global business and financial elites in Davos to lead a paradigm shift, one that inspires action at revolutionary levels and pace to avert the approaching catastrophe. Do we want to go down in history as the people who did nothing to bring the world back from the brink in time to restore the balance we could have done? I don't want to, he told the audience at the WEF's 50th annual meeting. We must change our awareness and consciousness. We are nonchalantly sawing the branch we are sitting on. Every human on earth holds a particular piece of the puzzle. I firmly believe that the further a society is distant from Mother Earth, the more insanity occurs in civilization. Common sense is uncommon. We lose the wisdom of the earth and the universe. Society no longer is in sync with nature. We develop the Wild West mentality. This gets carried away in all phases of life. Currently, the United States is in a major meltdown due to the silent virus. Yet our president wants to open up schools next month. Yesterday in Florida, over 16,500 people were reported positive. That's just in one day. There is still a furious debate on whether to wear a mask or not. When a society loses connection to Earth, all hell breaks out. We think we are smarter than nature. Man's ego gets so large that he thinks he is in charge of everything. Mother Nature sent us all to our rooms to think things over, yet we got bored and complained the whole time. For many people, they got nothing constructive out of it. The following is from ABC News. I think I made a mistake. I thought this was a hoax, but it's not. Those were the final words of a 30-year-old patient who died at Methodist Hospital in San Antonio this week after attending a so-called COVID party, according to the hospital. Dr. James Appleby, Chief Medical Officer for Methodist Hospital and Methodist Children's Hospital, said in a recorded statement that the unidentified patient told nurses about the party, which he said is hosted by someone diagnosed with the virus. The thought is people get together to see if the virus is real and if anyone gets affected, Appleby said. Appleby said she shared the story not to scare people, but to make sure they understand that the virus can affect anyone. The practice of a shaman is to learn how to be in harmony with the universe and Mother Earth. In the silence lies all the answers to life. This book will take you into the world of the shamans. This is your natural state. As I said many times before, you are the universe. You just don't know. Shamans have known this fact for thousands of years. To save humanity, we must discover our true nature. These stories are meant to be pondered over. They are not just stories. There is a meaning behind them all. This is the definition for the word ponder. Verb: think about something carefully, especially before making a decision or reaching a conclusion. I pondered the question of what clothes to wear to the occasion. Synonyms: thinking about, contemplate, consider, review, reflect on, mull over, meditate on, muse on, deliberate about, cognate on, dwell on, brood on, ruminate on, chew over, puzzle over, turn over in one's mind, overthink. She had time to ponder over the incident. Intro. I truly believe in synchronicity. The title of this book is The Physics of Spirituality. Mind you,
I did not come up with this title. My twin brother's John's business partner and dear friend Gurminder Singh Kalasa came up with this title. They have known each other for over 33 years. I've been fascinated by physics and the foundation of consciousness in the universe. For almost 50 years, I've been meditating. You could say my brother and I have a knack for it. If you've been reading my books, which you probably have, I've been writing about the practical experience behind all religions. They are all talking about the same thing. In the past few months, I wanted to talk about the Sikhs. They have an incredible background which the West has ignored. Gurminder's passion is studying the quantum field, using the external lab and internal lab. We will get to that in this book.
Intro. The kingdom of heaven lies inside of you. You maybe have been taught that the pearly gates exist in the clouds somewhere. God is ruling from his throne. Luke 17:20-21. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Let's take a look at Christ's last years and the significance of them. Just think, many of the world's religions consider Christ as one of the greatest mystics. Mystic. Now, a person who seeks by contemplation and self-surrender to attain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. Have the teachings of Christianity been watering down? Considering the following. Matthew 6:22. In the King James Version of the Bible, the text reads, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. The World English Bible translates the passage as, the lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is sound, your whole body will be full of light. Talk to any mystic, and they will say, this is divine light, the self-effulgent light. This is our true nature. All mystics know about the third eye, which is the pineal gland. Joe Dispenza received his doctorate of chiropractic degree from Life University in Atlanta, Georgia, graduating magna cum laude. His postgraduate education has been in neurology, neuroscience, brain function and chemistry, cellular biology, memory formation, and aging and longevity. Joe is both a scientist and a mystic. My suggestion is to think outside of the box. Many people think Christopher Columbus was crazy when he said the world is rough. People got quite angry when he said it. Let's go on an incredible journey. You are the universe. You just don't know it.
You know me, but you don't know me. I have many names. Some call me Gaia. Some call me Mother Nature. Some call me Panchakama. You have forgotten your connection with me. There was a time when we were in harmony with me. Nowadays, you have forgotten who you are and the connection you have with me. I am the mother of all on this earth. Many of the indigenous people around the world still have the connection with me. You call them primitive, yet they are highly advanced. You may have technology advanced, yet your spiritual and emotional growth is stunted. For thousands of years, you've been fighting wars with one another. You are sawing the branch that you sit on. Look at how you treat me. You have no respect. I'm not judging you. I just call a spade a spade. You are in the midst of one of the greatest transformations anywhere in the universe. It's happening right before you. Millions of people awaken up from their slumber. You're beginning to realize who you truly are. We are in the game together. You and I are one. I've been around for billions of years. And so has you. Yet today, you are still sleeping and are totally focused on getting by in life. Your ways are backwards. They don't work. Your mirror is cloudy. Every step you take, you are walking with me, yet you are oblivious to this. Your entire society is presently beating a drum that is out of tune. You think everything is well, yet you have forgotten our connection. You have forgotten your true essence. Anger is so pervasive today in your world. Everyone is angry with each other. It seems like in America, people are polarized. They don't listen to each other. In fact, many people have a tremendous amount of hate towards each other. I have love for all. That is my nature. I am patient and tolerant. I am kind. This is my nature. You have forgotten your true essence. Presently, you are a mixture of light and dark. You are going from darkness to light. I am trying to remind you how incredible you truly are. What if you had an Earth Mother who has been here since the dawning of time? I hold you in my arms, yet you don't realize it. You think you are alone. Because of this and your free choice, you have at times tremendous pain. It's hard to be truly happy when your happiness is external. You are like leaves blowing in the wind. You are happy and then you are sad. You get angry when you're in a traffic jam. The wise man would see a traffic jam as an opportunity to meditate and be aware with the eyes open. One would feel gratitude and remember our divine connection. You see, without being connected to your true nature, you will have a hard time navigating in this world. You really won't be in harmony with me or the universe. Need I say more? Take a look at the world around you. Is it in harmony with nature? You have a president who is going backwards in time, undoing all the environmental goods. He is totally out of sync with me. You see, a strong ego can be quite damaging. A man must develop kindness and humility to gain true wisdom. True wisdom comes from within. You know when to smile in the face of adversity. You have nothing to prove. I am what I am. I do not judge. I will give sincere and honest opinions. You may not agree with me. That is your choice. But I am your mother. Remember, there were probably times when you didn't listen to your worldly mother's advice. At some point in time, you did something and you thought, I wish I would have listened to my mother's advice. I wouldn't be in this certain situation. Well, life is a series of beautiful lessons to learn. We will never stop learning. Listen to the various messages I have for you. I am speaking directly to you. You are on the verge of waking up from your slumber.
Intro. Come with me on this precious journey of life. This book first got started way back in 2001. I first heard about the Kabbalah back in the mid-70s. Until recently, you had to be Jewish, you had to be a male, you had to be over 40. The Kabbalah was an esoteric aspect of Jewish tradition. It existed for over 2,000 years. In September of 2001, my wife and I embarked on this incredible journey. Karen Greenberg was a great teacher who taught a group of us in Penn Valley, California. She lived in Michigan. Karen came 4 times a year to teach us. We had monthly classes where we would meet at our house. My wife and I were instructors for this class. We'd say, if you want to learn something, you should teach it. Well, I decided to channel the wisdom. I used the book Ted Andrews, which had all the archetype symbols for each Sephirah. This is called the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is a diagram used in various mystical traditions. It usually consists of 10 nodes symbolizing different archetypes and 22 lines connecting the nodes. The nodes are often arranged into 3 columns to represent they belong to a common category. We only study the 10 nodes. For each node, we spent the month studying and experiencing the particular node or Sephirah. This is from Wikipedia. Carl Jung understood archetypes as universal archaic patterns and images that derive from the collective unconscious and are the psychic counterpart of instinct. They have inherent potentials that are actualized when they enter consciousness as images or manifest in behavior on interaction with the outside world. To be quite frank, I never worked with archetype symbols before. I first was exposed to it at the Monroe Institute in the mid-80s. I spent a week there. For some reason, it was love at first sight. With my meditation experience, I found it easy to tap into each symbol. I believe there are universal archetype symbols that exist in the collective unconscious. You might ask yourself, why would anybody want to learn this? Well, I like the analogy. The goal is to have your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. I like that statement. I like the idea to be proactive in life. Most of humanity is reactive. We can't control our minds and emotions. Look at the current situation today. People are divided. The nation is divided. People are flaming each other on Facebook. As I said, our class only studied an individual Sephirah for a month. In the old days, they studied one a year. Times have changed. Personally, I think the learning aspect has quit. Knowledge and wisdoms come from the heart. When the mind and heart are in coherence, the ability to gain wisdom occurs. I hope this book will help guide you on your journey in life. We all have our particular point of view on life. This is my personal journey. It has made me a better person. To be honest, I don't study this anymore, yet the foundation lies inside of me. Day by day, moment by moment, my goal is to be a better person. I take responsibility for my life. I'm learning to respect all different faiths and traditions. We're all on the same boat of life, sailing together. Bon voyage.
Intro. Jai Janinder is a common greeting used by the Jains. The phrase means honor to the supreme genus. The virtual greeting is a combination of two Sanskrit words, Jai and Janindra. The word Jai is used to praise somebody. In Jai Janindra, it is used to praise the qualities of the genus, conquerors. The word Janindra is a compound word derived from the word Jina, referring to a human being who has conquered all inner passions and possesses Kabbalah, Jnana, pure, infinite knowledge, and the word Indra, which means chief or lord. By saying Jai, we are praising the glory of these great souls, and by doing this, we are internalizing and embed their greatness in ourselves. By Janindra, we are saluting and appreciating the seeds of these Jains who also have achieved full control over their senses. I've been researching the Jains for almost a year now. I'm quite fascinated by their spiritual and practical practice of life. During these days of the Corona-19 virus, it is ever so important to be diligent in having a healthy lifestyle. Your life may be dependent upon you. Yet just recently, during the Thanksgiving holiday, over 25 million Americans traveled by plane. The deaths and people getting is overwhelming. Is common sense uncommon? I spent my entire life on a mind, body, and soul connection. I firmly believe to have your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. True wisdom only comes when one is connected to the source within. This is where the fountain of wisdom exists. As the Zen Buddhists say, chop wood, carry water. As I study with the Jains, I see a down-to-earth practical path to fine-tune the guitar of life. Nobody will drive your car for you. You have to drive the car yourself. This should be taught in schools and everyday life. Yet common sense is uncommon. These tools have been around for thousands of years. Humanity has forgotten them. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Tao Te Ching. I've been fascinated by the timelessness of the Tao Te Ching. It describes the nature of man with all his goodness and his foibles. It seems like we haven't progressed much in the area of being in harmony. We still fight and bicker with one another. The United States is divided. The truth is considered lies. Lies are considered truth. If you say lies long enough, they become true to others. We even have media that declares lies as true. The current administration even calls all media fake news if they don't print his point of view. For 4 years, this has been going on. Where did this ultimately lead us? A massive riot at the Capitol building, instigated by the president. This is from Reuters News.
Statistically impossible to have lost the 2020 election, Trump, the Republican, tweeted on December 20th. Big protests in D.C. on January 6th. Be there. Will be wild. They turned out in the thousands and heard the president urge them to march on the Capitol building to express their anger at the voting process and to pressure their elected officials to reject the results. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, Trump told the crowd, speaking with the White House as a backdrop. Appearing at what could be his last rally as a sitting president, Trump exhorted his supporters to fight. We will never give up. We will never concede, Trump said, delighting the crowd by calling Democratic victories the product of what he called explosions of bullshit. Bullshit, 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 people chanted in reply. Let's review the Tao and see what it says about harmony and the state of affairs today. Intro. The definition of a broken record is as follows. Use especially in similes to refer to a person's constant and annoying repetition of a particular statement or opinion. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, let me repeat, it will be difficult to do well without attending classes regularly. Yet the world at large has fragments of a broken record all over the place. Absolute harmony is the state mankind is searching for. Yet mankind is not aware of it. We are playing the same record over and over again. Humanity is having a hard time being in a state of harmony. Chaos exists outside and inside of us. Presently, the United States just had an invasion from its own people at the Capitol building. What is the truth is considered lies. What is lies is considered truth. For many, discrimination is out the door. This is from ABC News. Trump's voter fraud lies encouraged a riot. GOP allies are still giving them oxygen. Republicans, including Senator Josh Hawley, has condemned the violence but hasn't backed down from baseless claims of fraud and irregularities. This broken risk record exists in all areas of our life. This exists even from our subconscious. Scientists know that 95% of our actions stem from our subconscious. This is from Bruce Lipton. Is there a way to change subconscious patterns? Yes, you can reprogram the subconscious mind. All of us got programmed when we were very young, and the programs even started before we were born. We were programmed already in the uterus, so the program occurred before you were born, and therefore you can't tell me where all the programs are that you have. You weren't even conscious at that point. So then I say, how will I know what the programs are? You don't need to go to a psychiatrist to figure it out. The reason why it's simple is that 95% of your life comes from the subconscious program. So by definition, your life is a printout of your subconscious programs. So the things that you like and that can come easily into your life are there because you have a program that allows them to be there. In contrast, anything that you have to work hard at, put a lot of effort into, and anything you have to struggle for to make it happen,
is a result of your program not supporting that. So if you're trying to find a relationship, or you can never get into a relationship, and you're thinking it's not in my fate to be in a relationship, then this is not true. It's because whatever programs your mother and father and family had about relationships is not supportive. And the second reason is that you play these programs 90% of the time and you don't see them. So that means at least 95% of the time you were sabotaging yourself and you don't see it. And therefore, you never understood why your relationships were not working. So if people want to know what their programs are, I say what in your life comes easy to you is there because you have programs to support it. Anything you struggle to get to, that is because you have programs that don't support that. And that's how you know what programs you want to change. So you ask, where are the troubles in my life? If they exist in relationships, for example, you know you have to change your beliefs about relationships, and then you can work on yourself. So first is about recognizing the patterns that come from programming, and then you can change them. Now there is always the belief that you can talk to your subconscious mind, and people try that, and then they find themselves playing their programs again, and they get mad at themselves, and they get frustrated, because they think, I keep talking to myself and it's not changing. You have to remember you are like an entity in the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind is just like a machine. It records, pushes a button, plays back. So if you're trying to talk to the subconscious after there is somebody in there, it's frustrating because there is nobody in there to listen. That's not how the subconscious changes, and that's why most people have a lot of problems and they get mad at themselves when it doesn't change. Well, that is simply not how it learns. So that two minds learn differently. The conscious mind is called creative and can learn by reading a self-help book or going to a lecture, watching a video, or reading an article. It is creative. It goes, I have an idea. Now I change my mind. The subconscious mind is a habit mind. And the most important thing about a habit mind is you don't want it to change very quickly because otherwise habits fall apart. So it is resistant to change. This is the first thing we have to realize. It's not as easy to change as the creative mind. So how do I change my subconscious mind? How does it learn? Number one, the first 7 years, the mind is operating at a low vibratory frequency like hypnosis. So there's one way of changing the program. Number two, after you are 7, you form habits by repeating something over and over and over again. Practice, repeating, practicing. An example, if you read a self-help book, the conscious mind understood it, but the subconscious mind learned nothing from it because you only read it once, and that's not how it learns. If you repeat the message of the book over and over and over again and behave that way, the subconscious mind will learn a new behavior. So it is all about habitation. When you make a practice out of something every day, repeat it over and over again. So those are the two main ways, hypnosis and habitation. Then there's a third way, which is new, which is called energy psychology, and it activates the brain to be in a state of super learning. If you engage in super learning, you can rewrite subconscious programs in about 10 minutes. Something you have your whole life can be rewritten in 10 minutes. Now there are a bunch of different techniques, but they all function all about the same matter. It pushes the record button of the subconscious mind so you can download new data very fast. On my website, brucelipton.com, under resources, there's a list of about 20 different energy psychology processes, all which are effective and can help rewrite subconscious beliefs in a short period.
Intro. The definition of mystical is as follows: of relating to or stemming from mysticism or immediate understanding of spiritual matters, especially when experienced as a direct communion with God. Awe-inspiring or mysterious. Of mystics or mysticism, relating to or based on intuition, contemplation, or meditation of a spiritual nature. Inspiring a sense of spiritual mystery, awe, fascination. The definition of adventures is as follows: verb, engage in a hazardous and exciting activity, especially the exploration of unknown territory. The adventure into the forest. Noun, unusual and exciting, typical hazardous experience or activity, or recent adventures in Italy. I have been extremely blessed in my life. We all can live a life full of mystical adventures. Our human body is hardwired for that experience, yet we live our lives oblivious to this. Many people have a life and death experience when they tap to the beyond. Each one of us will ultimately have this experience before we die. Yet while we are alive, we just live a 9 to 5 existence.
Intro. I'm excited. I hope you are. Even during these chaotic times, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Mind you, it's not a freight train barreling down on you. We are still in the pandemic crisis. Over 500,000 Americans have lost their lives. That's more than all the wars Americans have ever fought. Texas is in shambles. Millions of people lost power and water for days on end. It seems to me we are having serious problems to fix. This is a book on conscious economics. I believe to change society, we must all individually change. We can't change the world if we don't change ourselves. Many of the planet's most serious problems are currently swept under the carpet. We slowly work on the issues at hand. We talk about changes, yet as a whole, we aren't 100% committed to it. Currently, we have been living in pursuing the American dream. We want a huge house, an incredible car, a job that pays millions. We can go on vacation anywhere in this world. We are all consumers. We got bombarded with advertising. If you only had this will make you happy. From the moment go, we were taught this. If I only had this toy will make me happy. If I could only have a yellow Ferrari, I would be on top of the world. My life would be so incredible. Yet, your Ferrari will only bring temporary happiness. When I worked for the Miami Beach Police as a software engineer, a friend of mine had a yellow Ferrari. He took me for a spin. That car is the most bumpiest car on the road. I could literally feel every single bump on the road.
I laughed to myself. This car costs thousands, yet I would never want it. It causes so much discomfort. The modern day world is all about consuming. That's how being a consumer works. This is the business model. It's been that way for a long time. I remember in the 60s a vacuum cleaner would last for around 50 years. Today, we have planned obsolescence. Companies want a product to expire so you can upgrade it. Look at the cell phone industry. If you don't have the latest, your friends will mock you. Wow, you're still using that antiquated device? Did you come from the dinosaur era? The housing industry is the same. My wife and I like to watch Householders International. So many people won't buy a house if it doesn't have the up-to-date current styles. They show perfectly fine kitchen cabinets ripped out and thrown into the dump. The countertops aren't made of granite. Let's throw them away. We are a throwaway society. We have a part of the ocean the size of Texas filled with nothing but plastic. There is no end in sight with this madness. 50 years ago, a great teacher said, "We are sawing off the branch we are sitting on." As a modern society, we are consumers. We are in touch and in harmony with Mother Earth. The Earth is only here to let us consume its resources. We help in causing global warming. We're slowly trying to solve the problem. Unfortunately, or fortunately, every human being on Earth has to take responsibility. We have limited resources. You can't chop down all the trees in the world and expect to survive. We can't continue polluting precious water and think future generations won't get affected by it. The following is part of an article from Indigenous Americans, Spirituality and Ecos. The cosmic visions of Indigenous people are significantly diverse. Each nation and community has its own unique traditions. Still, several characteristics stand out. First, it is common to envision the creative process of the universe as a form of thought or mental process. Second, it is common to have a source of creation that is plural, either because several entities participated in creation or because the process as it unfolds includes many sacred actors stemming from a first principle, father, mother, or grandfather, grandmother. Third, the agents of creation are seldom pictured as a human, but are depicted instead as wakan, holy or animal-like, coyote, raven, great white hare, etc., or as forces of nature such as wind, breath. The Lakota medicine man, Lame Deer, says that the Great Spirit is not like a human being. He is a power. That power could be in a cup of coffee. The Great Spirit is no old man with a beard. The concept perhaps resembles the Elohim of the Jewish Genesis, the plural form of Elohai, usually mistranslated as God, as though it were singular. Perhaps the most important aspect of Indigenous cosmic visions is the conception of creation as a living process resulting in a living universe in which a kingship exists between all things. Thus, the creators are our family, our grandparents or parents, and all the creations are children who, of necessity, are also our relations. And and an ancient Azawi Zuni prayer song states that our Earth Mother may wrap herself in a fourfold robe of white meal snow. When our Earth Mother is replete with living waters, when spring comes, the source of our flesh, all the different kinds of corn we shall lay to rest in the ground with the Earth Mother's living waters. They will be made into new beings. Come out standing into the daylight of their Sun Father to all sides. They will stretch out their hands. Thus the Mother Earth is a living being, as are the waters and the sun. Intro. Come with me and let's explore the Aboriginal world of Dreamtime. I've been fascinated by the Aboriginals ever since I saw Peter's Weir movie, The Last Wave, for the first time in my life. I heard the didgeridoo. When I first heard that sound, my soul was captivated. Words can't describe the feelings I experienced inside. It was a sound so eerie and yet so comforting. I knew this sound. This sound was a part of me. I got much of my material from the above YouTube video, Journey into the Dreamtime, with Auntie Manya Andrews. I was blown away, both by the incredible sophistication of their ancient wisdom. Come with me and let's learn on this journey together. Last week, I just finished my book, Conscious Economics. It was about how the world must change our ways to survive as a species. I talked about the concepts of the indigenous people around the world and modern-day Western concepts of commercialism. There was a difference between night and day. From my inner well floated up a thought to write a book on Aboriginal Dreamtime. To be quite honest, I had a superficial bunch of ideas. I was always just skimming the surface. I heard about Aboriginal people going on walkabout. The great movie Crocodile Dundee talked about Aboriginals going on a walkabout. Once again, it was just at a surface level. The Aborigines have a concept called profane knowledge. Profane knowledge is knowledge acquired in the external world. This includes the good, bad, and ugly. All external knowledge lies in this category. The five senses are fully engaged. The analogy for this is bark on the tree. The bark is external. Sacred knowledge exists inside of the tree. This is where true wisdom resides. The world at large is mainly focused on the external. Take a look at modern-day politics in the United States. What is the truth is considered fiction. What is fiction is considered true. The Aboriginals knew that the wood, the essence, exists inside of the tree. They have known this for over 100,000 years. They are the oldest existing society in the world. Their entire life is based upon acquiring inside wisdom. The entire universe is alive. The earth is alive. Recently, I read an incredible article that describes the nature of consciousness. It was talking about a term called panentheism. During the 1920s, Bertrand Russell came up with this term. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first, a human body and mind, or is there an awareness beyond that? Is the universe aware and conscious? Is there a cosmic quantum soup of consciousness? Does a rock or a flower aware? Does consciousness require a form? How big or how small can the form be to be aware? Is dark matter aware? Is the sun in the sky aware? What denotes awareness? Some people think, which I also do, that the foundation of the universe is consciousness. The entire universe is aware. Before the Big Bang, consciousness existed. This is not the first time a universe was created, nor will it be the last time. Like the incoming of breath and the outflow of breath, the universe comes and goes. Granted, it takes billions of years, but still, that is a blink of an eye for eternity. In this article, they describe that even particles are alive and aware. These are part of a cosmic soup where everything is tied together. The entire universe is comprised of this soup. Imagine making a homemade soup. You blend it all together and combine milk or cream. Your family loves it. Now, can you take out a single ingredient? You can't. In the same way, there is a universal soup of consciousness which we are a part of. It is quantum. It is beyond time and space. We always think linearly. In the quantum world, the past, present, and future are blended together. There is a whole set of chaotic laws that we can't even conceive. Man thinks by using logic they can understand the quantum soup, but it's beyond logic and rational thinking. Personally, I think the great mystics got a piece of the puzzle. Not the entire puzzle, but a piece of the puzzle contains the whole puzzle. It's like a hologram. A small piece contains the entire piece of the puzzle. What if a person who meditates can be in a place where they are receptive to the inner light inside? Imagine this light is the same light as the quantum universe. Everything is part of this light. E equals mc squared. Everything is energy and light. Everything is alive and aware. Our Aboriginals have discovered this fact over 100,000 years ago. This concept is still alive at their core belief systems. Many modern-day scientists believe in this theory. The Aboriginal people have discovered the tree inside many moons ago. It is not a concept, but a reality.
Intro. Welcome to my new book. This book will be a story within a story within a story. But first, take a look at the slideshow. This might give you an insight into the work I'm doing. I believe we are all on the same boat sailing home together. I take a look at beauty in all walks of life. Even the so-called weeds like the dandelions have incredible health benefits. I've been thinking for the last 2 years that I wanted to tackle the Muslim's point of view on life. My daughter is a devout Muslim. Her husband is from Egypt. They have 3 incredible children. I have seen the transformation of my daughter from a child to a beautiful adult and mom. It brings tears to my eyes. This journey in life is a combination of having your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. It's extremely practical. This is just the beginning of the story. This is the first step. Come with us on this journey. Each day, a new story will come alive. If you are in any way interested in Rumi, watch the story unfold.
I can't say everything will be 100% accurate. Well, that wouldn't be a story, would it? The essence is how the story brings inspiration to you. This is what a story is truly about. The definition of inspiration is as follows: the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. A sudden, brilliant, creative, or timely idea. This book came from my inner inspiration a week ago. I always wanted to hear more about the life of Rumi. Well, here goes. Author Rumi. If you've seen Star Trek, you will see how Spock can do a mind meld with another person. People think that it's science fiction, yet it is not. Your body is hardwired for this experience. The author quite frequently says that when you are born, you have the operating system, hardware, and software put into place. How elegantly said. Your scientists discovered the quantum field over a century ago. Imagine a field that is beyond time and space. It exists for eternity. Universes are created and destroyed. Behind the scenes, seen and unseen, lies the source of life. Just think your body is wired for this experience. You have unlimited potential. The universe is keeping you alive. The author uses that a lot. Anyway, anybody can tap into that. It's a great way to have a phone conversation with your loved ones on the other side. Sometimes the author has an uncanny ability to tap into a person who has died and received a message from them. Note, this is not like receiving words, but symbols and feelings. These come from the subconscious mind. Many people, when they hear about channeling, they say, it's just the subconscious mind. Well, exactly. That is precisely what it is. The subconscious mind is directly connected to the quantum soup or source of life. The subconscious mind governs over 95% of your actions. The intelligence and wisdom of the entire universe lie inside of your subconscious mind. Humankind's subconscious is united. Take a look at Carl Jung and his work. This will give you a better understanding. This is how the author communicates with me. It used to be common upon mankind. The indigenous people all around the world still have this capability today. The author just finished a book called Dreamtime, which talks about the aboriginal ways of melding heaven and earth in your everyday life. This will not be perfect. Both the author and I laugh at this. People will scoff at such ideas. People laughed at me when I was alive. You could say my life was outside of the box, but my poetry is still alive today. People are inspired to read and listening to it. In fact, it is more popular today than when I was alive. There are rumors that I'm the #1 poet in the world. If Allah says so, I'm just a humble servant. I don't need recognition. When one is united with Allah, it's all His glory. Anyway, come on this incredible storytelling journey. You will laugh and cry at the same time. This is just as much as your story. We are all united. Stop and think about your particular journey on this road of life. The author uses the word ponder quite frequently in his works. It was only in the last 10 years he used this. Pondering is a way to discover your essence. All great civilizations use this. So welcome. This is the first step. Let the storytelling begin.
Intro. The definition of recalibration is as follows. To calibrate something again. These systems gradually drift off course so that the navigational periodically needs a fresh point of reference to recalibrate the navigation system. Humanity needs a fresh point of reference. We are heading in the wrong direction. We are like a grand ship without a rudder. Our compass is pointing towards the north, and we are heading south, right into a hurricane. Our internal guidance system malfunctioned a long time ago. We don't even know that it even existed. Many politicians have lost their moral compass. Truth is fiction, and fiction is truth. Many of them spin the truth so much they can't even discriminate between truth and fiction in their own minds. Mind you, this is dangerous territory. Consequently, many Americans believe this. Just look at the Capitol building riot in early January. Many politicians have spun the truth to say it was a peaceful demonstration. Try telling that to Vice President Pence and his family. He had to run for dear life. We live in crazy and chaotic times. How does humanity change for the better? Can we change? That's probably a better question. Yes, we can. It will take time and patience. I don't see it in my generation or the generation after that. But seeds have been planted thousands of years ago. The harvesting of man takes patience and much care. Millions of people are slowly waking up from their slumber. Signposts are all around us. The recalibration first starts inside of you. From you, it expresses itself externally. It doesn't work the other way around. That's the problem. You have to be motivated to recalibrate yourself. Nobody can do it for you. That, my friend, is a biggie. Unfortunately, humanity is stuck in its ways and refuses to budge. Somehow, we prefer misery at our doorstep instead of walking in another new and wonderful direction. We are so used to living in chaos that we become chaotic in our daily lives. It is sad, but true. Every cornerstone of society has to change. Nothing can be swept under the carpet. We've already dumped a huge amount of garbage in our living rooms. Just think, we have a patch of plastic the size of Texas in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. A wise man once said many moons ago, we are sawing off the branch we are sitting on. I have a website called Evolution Revolution. This is where society must be headed. The evolution of man needs a peaceful revolution without any guns. The revolution begins inside of you. Anger and blaming others aren't the answer. Only kindness, love, and compassion are the keys to success. They must be mined within. Only by discovering these precious jewels within can you recalibrate. Your human body is wired for this. The operating system, hardware, and software have been there since your birth. You just have to turn it on. You must turn on the switch. All the great masters did this. They had the same problems you have. Nobody gets a free ride. But they all overcame their problems. They discovered the jewel within. They told humanity there is a way out of this chaos. For most people, this went over their heads. They couldn't understand the message. The message is always simple. True kindness exists inside of you. You have an infinite well of kindness inside of you. You are the universe, and you just don't know it. This book will talk about the various ways we need to recalibrate in all areas of life. I hope you get something out of it. Intro. My dear friend Lori Seacrest once said, "If you want to master anything, teach it or write about it." I took her advice to heart. I've been doing this for around 20 years now. For most of my life, I've been researching the great mysteries of life. I love to learn. That is my passion. I love to think outside of the box. During the last 10 years, I've been studying the lines of this book. You are your own master chemist. I've been interested in science and heightened awareness since the 70s. During the 80s, I went to Robert Monroe's Gateway program for a week. He was a pioneer in hemisync. This technology is still being used today. This has been an evolution in learning. When I first started to learn how to meditate, there wasn't much science behind the mind, body, and soul connection. The phrase, being in the zone, was a new concept that just came out. My dear friend Tim Galloway wrote the book, The Inner Game of Tennis, in the early 70s. He's been at it ever since. Many professional coaches and athletes give tribute to their success for the wisdom gained from Tim. When this book came out, I was only around 20 years old. This book was one of the doorways I took on my lifetime pursuit of gathering inner wisdom. My meditation practice was learned when I was in India. Here's an excerpt from his webpage. What is the inner game? In every human endeavor, there are two areas of engagement, the outer and the inner. The outer game is played on an external arena to overcome external obstacles to reach an external goal. The inner game takes place within the mind of the player and is played against such obstacles as fear, self-doubt, lapse in focus, and limiting concepts or assumptions. The inner game is a proven method to overcome the self-imposed obstacles that prevent an individual or team from accessing their full potential. Just yesterday, I wrote this in an article entitled Mind Blowing. Click on the picture to hear the audio. I hope this book will interest you as much as I. I'm always exploring and fine-tuning the guitar of life. This human body is absolutely incredible. We have the operating system, hardware, and software put in place. You are literally the universe. Every day, new discoveries are mapping how this human body is a gateway to the universe. That is our true nature. This is a story where you are your own master chemist. You control your destiny in life.
In each and every moment, thousands of either positive chemicals or negative chemicals are regulated into your body. You control this mechanism by your thoughts and emotions. Let's dive into this subject. Come and join me on this journey. Intro. I hope you get something from this book. Discovering the silence within is so much needed today. They say you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Maybe, just maybe, this is salt that is put into your food. We're all on the journey of life together. Hope you enjoy this book. Intro. This book is all about receiving knowledge from Prem Rawat and the incredible effects it had on my life. Words can't describe how grateful I am. Before meeting him, I was yearning to learn how to meditate. I somehow knew there was a jewel inside of me waiting to be discovered. This book will describe my precious journey and the incredible friends I have met on the way. Many of these I haven't spoken to in years, yet there is a thread of love tying us all together. In some of my stories, I had to talk about my experience in the past. Today, the meditating techniques are the same, but the expressions have changed. I apologize if I offend anyone. Even before receiving knowledge, I knew there was 5 internal senses. The day I received knowledge changed my life forever. In one instant, my life went from the external to the internal. Yes, I had and still have issues to clear. Curveballs will be thrown your way. Yet my foundation through practicing this day in and day out has transformed me. My brother and I love to meditate. We seem to have a knack for it from day one. Changes can occur in your life. I love to enjoy each moment on this journey. Baby steps are needed. One can never see how far one has traveled on this journey. Many people say they can't see the results, yet if they look back to see where they came from and where they are now, it's the difference between night and day. Prem has dedicated his entire life to spreading this knowledge. It's been 50 years since he first came to the West. I can't imagine how many programs he has attended. Most of the time, he is on the road. If you ever have the chance to see him or hear him, I would highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. As Prem once said, try it and you will like it. People try it and like it. Intro. If you know me, you will know that I love to think outside of the box. I have been researching most of my life. It's not only intellectual knowledge, yet it's down-to-earth wisdom. You could call it the land of a mystic, feet on the ground and your head in heaven. Be practical and yet consciously live within the jewel that lies within. Call it whatever you want, but something is keeping you alive. The same power that is keeping you alive is keeping the universe alive. This is my first introduction to Tibetan formal training that I'm about ready to embark on. It's a 16-week course. Lama Glenn Mullen is presenting this course starting July 24th. I'm looking forward to learning more about this ancient wisdom. Here's the beginning of this new journey. Maybe you might want to join in this adventure. Life will give you many signposts and synchronicities if you are open to them. I've been fortunate to be aware of this since childhood.
When one is conscious of the inner doors, signposts and synchronicities are a part of your life. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. My girlfriend Anna and I were driving from Toronto to Vancouver, Canada. The year was 1974. We ran into Mahatma Rajeshwar and Bill Patterson along the way. They were going to do a TV interview and asked us if we wanted to come. We spent a few days there. Bill gave me a copy of a book about Milarepa. He was Tibet's greatest yogi. The Kagyu lineage still exists today. In fact, in Ashland, Oregon, there's a beautiful temple that comes from the Kagyu lineage. Bill unfortunately died about 10 years ago. He was well known for his kindness. I loved the book. I was extremely fascinated by his life. I love to meditate. It is a part of my life. I mean, an incredible part of my life. I had a knack for it. Fast forward about 48 years. I'm on Facebook and I see the interesting post, Tumo and 6 yoga trainings with Lama Glenn. I was quickly drawn to this. What a synchronicity. My mind went back to receiving this precious book on Milarepa many moons ago. Signposts are all around us. Buddha has been following me around for a long time. My parents had a Buddha statue, where as a kid I would get mesmerized by just staring at it. It took all my troubles and worries as a young child away. In my teens, I began a formal meditation practice, which I still do today. My practice is the foundation of my life. I once had a past life regression when my twin brother John, Mark Laurenhurst, and I were students of Buddha. I could see it in my mind's eye. Even today, I can close my eyes and visions will appear. Of course, I can't prove it, grin, yet the impressions are there. Milarepa is another guide. When I first read the book on Milarepa, it was also mesmerizing. I lived in Ashland, Oregon for some time, and it was a beautiful temple that comes from the Kagyu lineage. My wife and I went to the temple a few times, but never heard about how to study with them. Anyway, this is going to be an incredible journey. Both Buddha and Milarepa have been friends with me for such a long time. Once again, how can you explain that? Yet, I most certainly know that we are never alone. This journey is both internal and external. What can I say? We are all blessed. Intro. Alfred E. Newman must have been a closet mystic. His magazine was out of the world. There we have so many signposts appearing, yet one must have the eyes to see. The following is from Wikipedia. The Mad Fold-In as a feature is found on the inside back cover of virtually every Mad magazine since 1964. Written and drawn by Al Jaffe until 2020, the fold-in is one of the most well-known aspects of the magazine. The feature was conceived in response to centerfolds in popular magazines, particularly Playboy. Explaining his original inspiration, Jaffe said, Playboy had a fold-out of a beautiful woman in each issue, and Life magazine had these large, striking fold-outs in which they showed how the Earth began, or their solar system, or something on that order. Some massive panorama. Many magazines were hopping on the bandwagon, offering similar full-color spreads to their readers. I noticed this and thought, what's a good satirical comment on the trend? Then I figured, why not reverse it? If other magazines are doing these big, full-colored fold-outs, well, cheap and old mad should go completely the opposite way and do an ultra-modest black and white fold-in. In 2011, Chaffee reflected, the thing I got a kick out was Jeopardy showed a fold-in, and the contestants all came up with a word they were looking for, which was fold-in. So I realized I created an English language word. It takes great wisdom to see satire. Satire is the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of a contemporary politics and other topical issues. Note, this book isn't full of satire, yet behind the scenes satire exists. The mystics of old and good old Albert E. Newman would have been great friends. They had so much in common. They would have loved the bad fold-in. Though this world is not what it seems, and they clearly understood that notion. This book reflects common words that we take for granted and don't spend time pursuing the true meanings behind them. What mean worry could have come from a Zen master thousands of years ago? What is the sound of one hand clapping? Each word helps one to solve the puzzle of life. There is a riddle to solve. Come along on this cosmic fold-in. The journey lies inside of you. What you see with your eyes is not reality. Intro. This book is all about the ability of mankind to transform. The definition of transform is as follows: to change in composition or structure, to change the outward form or appearance of, to change in character or condition, to cause a cell to undergo genetic transformation. I call this present era the evolution-revolution of man. Mankind is slowly waking up from its slumber. So much interesting wisdom is being brought forth from the past and present. Currently, I've been fascinated by Buddhist wisdom. Buddha, in my eyes, was the best psychologist ever. Mind you, he didn't call himself that. The term came centuries later, but Buddha understood the mind more than anyone else. This book will talk about the 51 mental factors. To transform, we must have a reference point to transform. The Buddhists have 51 mental factors to take a look at. I'm going to try to bring this wisdom down to simple and easy to understand. The Buddhists can be very intellectual. The wisdom is there. I love to make things super easy to understand. I may not get the entire theory yet, I get the wisdom behind it. I've been a software engineer for many moons. I have built many complicated systems. By building simple objects and combining them into a software program, it can become quite sophisticated. All of my software projects were built this way. Simplicity is the key. Come with me on this incredible journey. This is the ultimate video game. You have been playing this game for eons. The goal is to be conscious and aware. Intro. If you know me, you will know that I love to think outside of the box. I have been researching most of my life. It's not only intellectual knowledge, yet it's down-to-earth wisdom. You could call it the land of the mystic, feet on the ground and your head in heaven. Be practical and yet consciously live within the jewel that lies within. Call it whatever you want, but something is keeping you alive. The same power that is keeping you alive is keeping the universe alive. This is my first introduction to Tibetan formal training that I'm about ready to embark on. It's a 16-week course. Lama Glenn Mullen is presenting this course starting July 24th. I'm looking forward to learning more about this ancient wisdom. Here's the beginning of this new journey. Maybe you might want to join in this adventure. Life will give you many signposts and synchronicities if you are open to them. I've been fortunate to be aware of this since childhood. When one is conscious of the inner doors, signposts and synchronicities are a part of your life. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. My girlfriend Anna and I were driving from Toronto to Vancouver, Canada. The year was 1974. We ran into Mahatma Rajeshwar and Bill Patterson along the way. They were going to do a TV interview and asked us if we wanted to come. We spent a few days there. Bill gave me a copy of a book about Milarepa. He was Tibet's greatest yogi. The Kagyu lineage still exists today. In fact, in Ashland, Oregon, there's a beautiful temple that comes from the Kagyu lineage. Bill unfortunately died about 10 years ago. He was well known for his kindness. I loved the book. I was extremely fascinated by his life. I love to meditate. It is a part of my life. I mean, an incredible part of my life. I had a knack for it. Fast forward about 48 years. I'm on Facebook and I see the interesting post, Tumo and 6 yoga trainings with Lama Glenn. I was quickly drawn to this. What a synchronicity. My mind went back to receiving this precious book on Milarepa many moons ago. Signposts are all around us. Buddha has been following me around for a long time. My parents had a Buddha statue, where as a kid I would get mesmerized by just staring at it. It took all my troubles and worries as a young child away. In my teens, I began a formal meditation practice, which I still do today. My practice is the foundation of my life. I once had a past life regression when my twin brother John, Mark Laurenhurst, and I were students of Buddha. I could see it in my mind's eye. Even today, I can close my eyes and visions will appear. Of course, I can't prove it, grin, yet the impressions are there.
Milarepa is another guide. When I first read the book on Milarepa, it was also mesmerizing. I lived in Ashland, Oregon for some time, and it was a beautiful temple that comes from the Kagu lineage. My wife and I went to the temple a few times, but never heard about how to study with them. Anyway, this is going to be an incredible journey. Both Buddha and Milarepa have been friends with me for such a long time. Once again, how can you explain that? Yet, I most certainly know that we are never alone. This journey is both internal and external. What can I say? We are all blessed.
Intro. The definition of alchemy is as follows. 1. A medieval chemical science and speculative philosophy aiming to achieve the transmutation of the basic metals into gold, the discovery of a universal cure for disease, and the discovery of a means of indefinitely prolonging life. 2. A power or process that changes or transforms something into a mysterious or impressive way. The practices or the practitioners of financial alchemy that transformed the world of money in the 1980s. 3. An unexplicable or mysterious transmuting. Alchemist. Someone who transforms things for the better. Today, we recognize alchemy as a pseudoscience and give chemistry its rightful place as a serious scientific field. But the two terms initially overlapped in meaning before separating by the 17th century, just as astrology and astronomy did during the same period. Alchemy and alchemists are in fact older words than chemistry and chemist in English. Alchemists believed that lead could be perfected into gold, that disease could be cured, and that life could be prolonged through transmutation or a change of some essential element into a superior form. Their secretive experiments, usually involving heat and the mixture of liquids, led to the development of pharmacology and the rise of modern chemistry. The long route to English for alchemists began with the Greek word chemina, which probably came from the word chyma, fluid, derived from the verb chen, meaning to pour. It then passed to Arabic, which added its own definite article, al, the, to the Greek root. The word then passed from Latin to French before coming to English. Some other words derived from Arabic also retain the al in English, such as algebra, algorithm, and alcohol. In fact, the transformative liquid that was consistently being sought through experimentation by alchemists is another word with the Arabic al. Prefix, elixir. This power to transform things for the better, real or imagined, led to figurative meanings for alchemy and alchemists. The history of alchemy. The medieval chemical science and speculative philosophy that focused on the attempt to change less valuable metals into gold to find a universal cure for disease and to discover a means of prolonging life indefinitely is called alchemy. It was practiced in much of the ancient world from China and India to Greece. Alchemists migrated to Egypt and were later revived in the 12th century Europe through translations of Arabic texts into Latin. Medieval European alchemists made some useful discoveries, including mineral acids and alcohol.
The revival led to the development of pharmacology and to the rise of modern chemistry. The gold-making processes of alchemists were finally discredited, but not until the 19th century.
Intro. Hi, this is Loner Ricky the Dragon. Human Ricky absolutely loves and adores dragons. It wasn't always that way. There was a period in his life he never paid attention to us. It was just like a fairy tale. Yet, Richard is married to Barbara. She has been extremely interested in dragons her entire life. They were meant to be together. Did you know that the dragon is a symbol of enlightenment in Buddhism? Dragons have been around for trillions of years. We are new kids on the block. We have a lot to learn. Just think, the dragons went through the same stuff we are going through. No one gets a free ride when it comes to enlightenment. Life is truly a video game. Carl Jung studied archetype symbols all his life. An archetype symbol holds the energy of the unconscious mind. Dragons hold the key to enlightenment. They became enlightened trillions of years before we showed up on the scene. Yet, as I said before, nobody gets a free ride. The dragons on Earth have the same problems we presently have. We have a hard time getting along with each other. Read my book, Dragon Tales, to see what I mean. I think it's amazing that many people have different sides of the story when it comes to dragons. In the East, a dragon stands for enlightenment. In time, Chinese Buddhist artists adopted the dragon as a symbol of enlightenment. Today, dragons decorate roofs and gates of temples, both as guardians and to symbolize the dragon power of clarity. Buddhist dragons often are depicted holding a mani jewel, which represents the Buddha's teaching. The symbolism behind dragons. One of the West's most famous dragon slayers was immortalized in the English book The Golden Legend, published in the 1480s. Believed to be part fact and part fiction, this story of England's patron saint, St. George, tells of a knight who came to the aid of a town besieged by a ravenous dragon. The townspeople fed it 2 sheep a day to prevent further attacks on their children, and the king begrudgingly agreed to appease the dragon with his daughter. As the princess awaited a fiery death by dragon, St. George happened upon them both. He smote the dragon into submission and told the princess to lead it home, at which point St. George killed it in front of the king. Dragons, like the one slain by St. George, symbolizes more than the natural forces of destruction. According to Carl Jung, who founded Hungarian psychotic physiologic theory, when a hero is fighting a dragon, he is actually battling his own subconscious. And when a hero struggles to save an innocent hostage, usually a beautiful maiden, it serves a dual purpose. Not only does he save an innocent life, but the act of rescuing her requires the hero's personality to develop. Not all dragons represent the id, though in Japan, Ogansho was a white dragon whose appearance signaled impending feminine. White, not black, is the color traditionally associated with death in Japan. In many cultures, maleficent dragons like Ogansho are typically depicted with their heads pointing down.
while dragons that symbolize benevolence are shown with their heads pointing towards the heavens. This dichotomy between good and evil is what differentiates most Eastern and Western dragons. Western dragons symbolize destruction and death, while Eastern dragons symbolize fortune and great power, both good and bad. In Korea, for example, a dragon signifies the circle of life and is often portrayed with its body in a circular position to symbolize the culture's cyclical view of time. The Chinese zodiac, which includes a dragon, further illustrates this view. The sign, along with its 11 brethren, repeat every 12 years. Intro. Hi, this is Loaded Ricky, the Dragon. Do we ever have an incredible story to tell? It may seem like a fish tale, yet it's a dragon's tale. A long time ago, there existed the dragon's world. Mind you, this was over 2 trillion years ago. Your universe existed only around 14.5 billion years ago. You're essentially the new kids on the block. The same nonsense and chaos you experienced, the same nonsense we went through. Mind you, it wasn't a pretty picture at times. Dragons can be quite angry and destructive at times. There are many warring factions. It seems like power always comes into play with politics. Power is like cream, it rises to the top of the bottle. Yes, this cream of power almost leads us to our destruction. We had many wars just like you had. At times, we didn't know if our world would survive. We were going from darkness to light, except we didn't know that. We were oblivious of that. We had so many problems we could hardly function as a society. Chaos was in the air. When you are in constant chaos, a society can't make proper decisions. One lives like leaves blowing in the wind. We didn't know that the world could live in the center of the hurricane. We were stressed out dragons. The years of fighting and conflict really got to us. Our stress levels were off the charts. A good night's sleep was rare. This leads to many health issues. We thought this was normal. We accepted our state of mind. Unfortunately, we are playing the same tapes over and over again. We thought this is how one should live. We didn't even know that these tapes were being played. Consequently, when someone would say something we did not like, we would blow up. Mind you, when dragons blows up, it's not a pretty picture. At times, their flames could kill the other dragon. You could say we couldn't control our emotions. The concept of an inner garden didn't even exist for them. They were throwing all their garbage in their inner living room. No wonder they didn't feel good. No wonder they were cranky. Common sense was uncommon. Their world was collapsing. This is where the story gets interesting. You see, help is always there. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Intro. The definition of esoteric is as follows: intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with a piece of specialized knowledge or interest. The definition of treasure is as follows: a quantity of precious metals, gems, or other valuable objects. When I was young, the word esoteric was a very foreign word to me. I read some esoteric books and had no idea what they were talking about. It seemed so complicated and intellectual. I must admit, I have a simple mind, yet with a simple mind, one can develop complex systems. During the 90s, our family moved to Maui. I got a job working for the Haleakala Observatory. Boeing was the subcontractor. The Air Force operates the Maui Space Surveillance Complex. The Air Force was tracking space debris and satellites. One of my first projects was a dome automation system. Imagine at midnight we would have a dome operator which would have a switch to move the dome clockwise or counterclockwise. During the winter, it would get extremely cold. The operator would be wearing a snowsuit. At times, during an important pass, they would doze off and fall asleep. I was instructed to automate this process. My friend Paul was charged with the overall hardware design, and I was assigned to the software side. The program was written in C++, which I was not familiar with. Anyway, we had a short timeline to pull this off. Paul and his crew installed barcode readers around the dome. We had an IBM pizza box that we used. The basic formula was we had to take the as, pole, and deck positions and calculate where the dome should move to. At times, we had to force the dome to go super fast, and we got to our destination. We had to slow down, and they stopped. We had to make fine adjustments along the way. When we first tested out the system, we would hear a hum when we were stationary. We quickly fixed this. The system was installed on time. The system was so successful that we had another dome that was required to have the same software and hardware installed. This book hopefully will break down esoterics that will make you easily understand the mechanics of discovering the treasures within. What is esoteric is quite simple if one explains it properly. This is a practical time where we can experience the true nature that exists inside of us. Intro. The definition of a puzzle is as follows. 1. To offer or represent to someone a problem difficult to solve or a situation difficult to resolve. Challenge mentally also to exert oneself, one's mind, etc. over such a problem or situation they puzzled their wits to find a solution. 2. Archaic, complicate, entangle. What is the greatest puzzle to solve in the universe? Signposts are all around you, yet humanity is texting on the freeway of life. This book contains many writings when I talk about the great puzzle of life. The world at large would be in a better place if we attempted to try to solve this puzzle. The solution exists inside of you. Nobody can solve the puzzle for you. Many people throughout the ages provided helpful hints, but you must use your own inner shovel to mine the gold within. That's how the game got set up. I most certainly didn't make the rules. Nobody can walk in your own shoes. Your life is custom designed. What works for you may not work for others. Hopefully, by reading this book, you may try to solve the puzzle of life. Intro. The definition of war is as follows: a state of armed conflict between different nations or states, or different groups within a nation or state. Emotionally, we are still in the kindergarten stage of emotions. Many of our leaders are spoiled brats. The world is still in a tizzy that Russia attacked Ukraine. Just think, one person can cause so much chaos. How can he sleep at night when an entire country is going through hell? How would he like it if another country invaded his country and a rainfall of ballistic missiles rained upon him? Not only that, but a caravan of troops and tanks 40 miles long was approaching his capital. Let's keep this simple. Either we stop fighting each other, or we will blow ourselves up. It's as simple as that. Mind you, there have been plenty of civilizations out in the universe who have done that. Only we can solve the puzzle. The only savior is humanity saving itself.